Okay, awesome. Thank you for coming. It's only me, unfortunately. We did have our director planning on coming, but Vancouver, Canada is an awfully long way away from Boston, and we just couldn't afford the plane ticket at the last minute to get us both out here. So it's just me. Can I get a feel from the audience how many people have seen standard action before? Okay, a few. Awesome. Cool. Nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a screening of our first episode in our second season. Now, don't worry, if you haven't seen season 1, it's okay. We made this episode specifically so that people who didn't know anything about our show could still enjoy it and learn a little bit about it and maybe laugh a little, you know, maybe. So can we have lights down?
Yes.
Great. Okay, you guys don't need to watch the credits. Well, you can watch them. You don't need to hear them, though. Okay, so that's the first episode of our second season. Now I should introduce who I am. I totally didn't do that. I'm Joanna, so I'm the producer and the writer, and I also play Etta the Barbarian Elf, as you can see there. We've been running for 2 seasons now, so our first season was 14 episodes long. It started out in November 2010 and went all the way through 2011. We filmed and released for a year, and then we started releasing season 2 at the beginning of this year. So actually, this episode aired at around Christmas time. So we're still releasing season 2. And now we have plans for a season 3. We film out of Vancouver, Canada. So we film out in the woods, in the rain mostly. It's usually pouring when we're filming. And yeah, we're slowly sort of increasing our production value and getting a little bigger. And we're very, very excited to be out east because this is the first time standard action has ever been shown on the East Coast. So very cool. So I'm just going to sit because you guys aren't very many of you. So first of all, do you guys have any questions for me? I mean, that's why I'm here. So, okay, right there. Really good question, actually, because when we first did, we did a teaser, sort of like that, for season 1 as well. And we called it episode 0 at the time. And it ended up fitting into the season about halfway through. So if you want to see it, it's now called episode 6.5. But that was the first thing we ever did. And we went out and we shot that with a very minimal crew. So we had 3 cast and 3 crew, and all the cast doubled as crew as well. And we shot the whole thing in a day. We were just like, oh, let's just see how much we can do in a day. And then we cut it together. And then we discovered Journey Quest, and which is another fantasy comedy web series made by The Dead Gentleman and ZOE, Zombie Orpheus. And we were like, holy crap, really? It's like, damn it, they're already, we're behind, you know? There's this great show that already exists. But yeah, we started to watch their stuff, and our sense of humor is a little bit different. It actually started out being a whole lot more self-aware. So we started out with a lot more sort of game references and really like breaking the fourth wall kind of stuff. And then, you know, my director came to me when I was writing it, and he's like, you know, we don't want to alienate everybody. Maybe you should pull it back a little bit. So we sort of pulled it back to the point where, you know, it still feels like a fantasy show, but every once in a while we'll touch at those anachronisms, like the druid Martin wears Converse shoes. We've got, you know, people reference jazz, and there are mimes. So yeah, we break the fourth wall every once in a while, and it does set us apart. And it was important for us to be set apart because, as far as I'm concerned, you know, Journey Quest is a fantastic show, and we want to exist side by side with them rather than being, you know, a copy or whatever. And it also, people have told me too that it feels Canadian. In that kind of self-effacing, a little bit poking fun at gamer content. We're not a fantasy show, we're a gamer show. These characters are aware that they're living in a game, which kind of gives it a little bit more of a Canadian feel. So, I don't know. Any other questions? Yeah. Unfortunately, at the moment, the Conservative government is not giving us too many government incentives. There are a few programs, most notably the Independent Production Fund, IPF. Unfortunately, they only fund new shows, so we don't qualify. And that's actually quite similar for a lot of the federal and provincial funding as well, as they only really fund new stuff. So we haven't been able to take advantage of any of the government stuff. We've done our best with, I mean, our first season was entirely self-funded, so it was basically just me working a day job and funding it. And our second season, we did an Indiegogo fundraiser, which is like Canadian Kickstarter. And we got quite a bit of money from the fans, which was fantastic. It still wasn't enough, so we ended up self-funding a lot more of it. But that's really the extent of our funding is self-fund and crowdfunding. So, yeah. Any more questions? No, all of our effects are done in-house, so everything, we have, a very many hats team. Everybody on the team does multiple things. We're certainly not a professional film crew by any stretch of the imagination, because professional film crews are large and bloated. We have first season we had about 10 people, cast and crew combined. Second season was a little more, maybe 15 or 16. On the big days, maybe 20, but didn't like to do that too often. So Rob Hunt, who's the director, as well as the director of photography, as well as lead cinematographer, first camera, editor, also does all the visual effects. We did get a little bit of help in second season just because we started getting a little bit more attention. People started seeing what we were doing, and they're like, I want to do this with you guys. Come on, let me help. So we did do a little bit with some of the guys who worked on Mind's Eye, which was a web series that came out of Toronto. I'm not surprised if none of you have heard of it. It was really great, but it got bought out really quickly, so it's not online anymore. Some of those guys helped us out in second season. Because of budget and because of time, we shoot and edit and release incredibly quickly. We do keep a lid on our special effects, so you will only see them sort of maybe once an episode. This one was a light one. You didn't see much, mostly just sound stuff. So yeah, we try and keep it low. However, if you have watched our second season, there is, and I won't give any spoilers here, there is a villain that shows up in the middle of second season who has the potential to, I mean, if we were to do a third season, she'll definitely come back, and she has the potential to be the source of a massive amount of visual effects, just because she's a magical creature, and so it would be amazing to be able to do that, and we are definitely looking to do that in season 3. More question? Oh. Well, one of the things with creating an IP like this, one of the things with sort of creating a world from scratch and owning it all, is, yeah, we have plenty of plans. In terms of distribution, I mean, YouTube is our main distribution hub right now. Obviously, it's free. Everybody can see it online. We do sell DVDs. That's another source. But we sell them through ZOE, and it's relatively small scale. We don't make all that much money off of DVDs. They pay for themselves, and that's great. And they get out there. This is basically starting a world that we can do a huge amount with. So we have created an online MMO. Very nerdy, text-based, awesome, very simple. That's in beta right now. We've got a card game that we've also got in beta. We are going to be releasing it as a perk in our next Kickstarter. Doing a Kickstarter next, woo, instead of an Indiegogo. It's very exciting. So we're releasing that, and then we'll be selling that as well. We've also got, because of things like the IPF funding and that kind of thing, what we'd like to do is take this world, spin it off into a new series after Standard Action has finished its first story arc, maybe get funding for it. We've got a feature film that is, the treatment is written for Edda the Barbarian's backstory, because a lot of people have asked about Edda the Barbarian's backstory. She has been alive for 440 years, so we've got a lot to say. Yeah, so basically what we're doing is creating a complex world and doing as much as we can with it. There's also a webcomic that's coming out, should be coming out within the next month or so, which we're in partnership with a company out of Seattle, they're doing that for us. We've also got two Pathfinder RPG modules coming out as well. One of them is for the adventures of the team between season 1 and season 2, and the next one is between season 2 and season 3. So yeah, plans, huge plans. Whether any of them will actually bring us in enough to be able to fund our own activities, I don't know, but we're trying every avenue we can. Any other questions for me? Yeah. Nope, the season cuts are, there's 1 second between scenes, and that's purely layout choice. It has nothing to do with YouTube. I have no interest in placing ads in our episodes. Mostly because they annoy me when I watch videos. We don't have a problem with putting ads at the bottom, those ones that you close as fast as you possibly can, but putting them at the beginning or inside them, no, it's a good question, but it's not, I don't personally think that web series are going to be making money and marketed the same way TV is. I think that we're going an entirely different way on the web, and I'm really happy about that. I don't really want web TV to become as insipid and nasty as regular network TV, just because I think right now network TV is a vehicle for advertising, and I don't really want web series to become a vehicle for advertising. So that's a long answer to a really simple question, but yeah, no, they are not that way for ads. There was a question back there. Oh, no, they'll definitely be comical, yeah. Actually, the guy who we've got to write them is fantastic. If anybody is sort of familiar with the Gamers movies, which is another thing that's done by the Dead Gentleman and Zetaoui, Kevin Mickelson did a Mask of Death module, which is the Darkness Rising, which is the second Gamers movie. It was called Darkness Rising, but the module is called Mask of Death, and it's basically you can play through the movie. And it's so funny. I had the chance to play a little bit of it, I think, at PAX Prime last year, and it was fantastic. So we got him to write our modules as well. So yeah, absolutely. Comedy, definitely. It wouldn't be a standard action module if it weren't comedic, so for sure. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I shouldn't say that we're not professional. We are, in the fact that, you know, we've worked our process down to a very streamlined, very efficient set of processes that work. We keep our team very, very small, and that's key. And it's one of the things that when we moved into second season, we had a lot of big plans that we felt like we were getting to professional. So we're like, oh, we've got a little bit more money now. We will get a studio, we will have double the crew, we will have, you know, pre-production time of 4 months, so all this stuff. And we made a lot of mistakes in that. We made a lot of plans that we had to toss out. We lost a bit of money in making decisions to just go in the professional direction that we really shouldn't have made. I personally am incredibly happy when we've got, you know, a 10-person crew going on, and you've got 4 people in scene and you got 6 people around, and everything is moving incredibly smoothly, and that's when I feel professional. When there's like, because we usually have 2 or 3 cameras rolling at the same time, so we've got all the cameras going, we've got the sound going, everybody's quiet, everybody's focused. That's really all you need. I mean, it's beautiful, really, when it happens. There's an episode that we just released in season 2, episode 5. Episode 4 was like really big and epic and all this stuff went on, and then episode 5 really came down into this really, really nice kind of intimate, small feel for it, and it was just gorgeous. I mean, doing that scene on set with a small crew and everything came together, and we had this beautiful emotional scene. It was like, and that's what you do it for, right? I mean, those are the moments. Yeah. So yes, I suppose we are professional in our own way. Redefining professional. Duh. Oh. One episode? One episode, okay. Well, we try to film, I'm advertising for Acer now. We try to film an entire episode's content in a single day. So each episode is, I would say, an average of 9 minutes. First season was a little bit longer. Second season is probably average 9 minutes. So that basically means 9 pages in a day. Which is exceptionally fast by professional standards, but again, that's because we've got such a small crew, so we can move really quickly and we're very flexible. So we'll get an episode filmed in a day, and then probably the basic layout, which I do, probably takes 2 to 3 hours per minute of content. So if you've got a day's worth of filming and then 30 hours of editing, and then it goes to mastering and sound. Sound guy probably takes about 10 hours. Mastering probably takes about 14. So what are we up to now? We're at 50 plus a day, 60. Yeah, say 60 hours an episode, yeah. And then we work full-time day jobs, like, yeah. There were hands. Yeah, convince is the word, definitely. Actually, I wrote episode 1 and 2 for season 1 just for fun. I never expected to film them. Episode 1 is basically just a story about Edda, and episode 2 is basically just a story about Martin. And I wrote them because, okay, segue. I'm a big 3.5 D&D gamer. I have been for a very long time. And when 4th edition came out, I was super excited, and I bought all the books, and decided I didn't like the game, but whatever. In the first books that came out for 4th edition, I was very upset that they didn't include my 4 favorite classes. So in the first books, there was no barbarian, druid, sorcerer, or bard. And I was really disappointed, because a few of those are, pretty complex, interesting classes to play. So I wrote the scripts based on those 4 characters. The guys who were left out of the party, basically, the losers who were left behind, and they ended up being just nerds, really, who are left out of every good party in high school and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote those scripts. Didn't really expect to film them; they were just character studies. We met this guy, Edwin, ended up playing Fernando the Bard at a movie. Rob was, my director, was filming a movie. I was in that. He was in it too. We showed him the scripts, and he's like, "Oh my God, I played D&D." He came out to us that he played D&D because it was secret, right? So I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll write a character for you." So I wrote a character for him. Then we decided to just film something, not those scripts that I'd written because they were too complicated and too long, and they required props. So we're like, no, let's just film something else. So we filmed episode 0. Which has Mortimer the Magnificent in it, who is our sound guy. And yeah, we just got the people who we knew from that film shoot. So Ashley Young was our makeup artist. She also ended up being camera assistant on the day. Rob was the only camera, so he was director and the only camera. Travis was sound. We had Mortimer, or Pat, who was another sound and an actor, and then it was just Edwin and I, so 6 of us. And we did it just because we wanted to do it. We had absolutely no plans for this to keep going. It was basically just let's see how much we can shoot in a day and see how it looks. And we put it together, and we liked it, and we laughed at it, and so we just put it online. And then people started saying, "Oh my God, I like this. This is funny. Could you make more?" And we're like, "I guess." So it really started personal. Yeah, for sure. We had absolutely no marketing plan. People come to me later who are trying to make web series, and this is exactly what you should be doing, and they say, "How do I market this? I'm planning on making this web series in a year. How do I market it now?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I wish I'd thought of that at the time. That would have been amazing. But yeah, it was basically just, we made something for us. And it just turned out that other people had the same sense of humor, which is fantastic. So. Yeah, people have asked me that before. No, you wouldn't know the answer to that question if you'd seen the show. No. And I made a conscious decision to not go there, actually. The Gamers movies, if you've seen them, you get a picture of the players around the table, so rolling the dice and with the character sheets and the DM screen and all that stuff, and then you get this kind of world, so them running around in the game world. No, we decided to keep it entirely within the game world. There are a few reasons for that. One of them is very simply that I find that stuff around the table less interesting, so I didn't want to ever film that. But also in kind of a, touchy-feely, ethereal sense, I'd kind of like people to see themselves in the characters. I don't really want to assign who's playing Edda and who's playing Martin. More like just because I'd want, you to put yourself there rather than it be shown to you, if that makes any sense. Sure. Well, our first season, we filmed on Canon T2Is, which was basically, as low end as you can go for HD Canon DSLRs. In second season, we upgraded to 2 T3Is, which is one step up from that. They are incredibly cheap. And this sounds, arrogant in saying so, and I'm Canadian, so it makes me feel uncomfortable. But I think honestly, our stuff looks better than most web series out there. And that's because we have fantastic post-production. Rob is a coloration genius, like mastering. Yeah, you can do amazing things with DSLRs. And actually, the chip that's in the T2i and the T3i, it's the same chip. You don't actually upgrade that chip until you spend as much as to get the 5D. So that's a $5,000 camera. So if you actually wanted to upgrade your video chip, you got to go that far in order to do it. We don't have the budget to do that. So even if you get the 7D, it's still the same chip as what we're using here, but for a T3i or a T2i, you're going to spend $400. Really, it's about your lenses. So if you spend the money on the lens, most of our lenses are worth more than our cameras. However, if there's any aspiring filmmakers out there, if you get one of these basic Canon cameras, there is a 50mm lens. We call it the Nifty 50. It is amazing, and it's $150, maybe less now. And it's a prime, and it's beautiful. If you shoot all your closes on that, you will never be upset with it. It's gorgeous. Sound, we have a Zoom H4n is our mixer. It was purchased at the beginning of our shoot, so late 2010. There's probably better stuff out there, but it's never done us wrong. And then we have Rode boom mics. In season 2, we got a sound guy who had some lav mics, which was a really nice upgrade for us. Wireless, which was lovely. I don't like the sound as much as the boom sound, but they're great in a pinch. If you bring out a film actor, we use a lot of theater actors. If you bring out a film actor, they talk really quietly. So it's good to have a lav just so you can pick them up. Yeah. Any other questions? No, we're going to sell them on the Pathfinder site. So we'll sell them on the Paizo site as well as other places. But no, we are hoping, and we have yet to figure out exactly who's going to be publishing for us, but we are hoping to publish entirely ourselves. So I would like it to be a Critical Success Productions module, which is our company. We will probably sell it through the ZOE store as well, if they'll be okay with that. ZOE does productions as well, so we could go through them. But I think we could save some money if we tried to do it ourselves, so we might do that. It's one of our stretch goals in our upcoming Kickstarter. But we will be, even if we don't make those stretch goals, we'll still do these modules. They'll just come a little bit later. Yeah. I don't even know what my time is. It's 8 o'clock. Oh, early. Early. Any more questions? Shall I show another episode? All right. Okay, so this one is episode 1 of season 2. So you need to know a little bit more, I guess. Okay, so at the end of season 1, without giving any ridiculous spoilers, they finished the story arc. So they beat the mini boss at the end of season 1. They leveled up, potentially. And they sort of saved the world, as it were. But they've got a little bit of attention maybe from some higher powers that isn't quite so positive. In case you missed it in the teaser, Martin is a druid. Snuffles is his badger animal companion. Edda is an elf barbarian. Fernando is a half-halfling bard. Yes, half-halfling. We're not entirely sure what the other half is yet, but if you watch season 2, you may be able to figure it out. And Wendy, who calls herself Guinevere to be more posh, is a sorceress. So this is episode 1. All right, so that was episode 1. A little bit more visual effects for you on that one. I've actually got a really funny story about the squirrel. So there's a conversation there where they say, we gave this magic bracelet to an ogre mage to identify. It just wasn't the same after. Yeah, that's because the bracelet existed in season 1. It was a key prop. We had that conversation the day before we were going to film. Who has the bracelet? Nobody had the bracelet. Lost prop, gone. Panic stations. So we're like, let's turn it into a squirrel. We're like, all right, let's do that. So we turned it into a squirrel. And it works. And actually, it's really funny. That Pathfinder module that we were talking about, Kevin Mickelson, the guy who's writing it for us, said, what should we do this module about between season 1 and season 2? And I'm like, well, there's this bracelet and there's this story about an ogre mage. He's like, done. So that's going to be in the module. And it's all because of a lost prop. I mean, that's fantastic, right? So cool. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, the guy who plays the merchant in this episode actually has started a spin-off project, another spin-off project, we do lots of these, called the Critical Hit Show. It's a live D&D improv show that we do at the Rio Theater in Vancouver every month, and Edda is part of it. So that's another one of these spin-off projects that we've done. It's become incredibly popular, and we performed it at Emerald City Comic Con just this last, about a month ago, and it was packed house, packed to the doors, and they want us back for PAX Prime. So hopefully we'll be there for that as well. If there are no other questions that were generated by that episode, give me a moment. No? Yeah, we make them. Yeah, our first season, actually, when Edwin, who plays Fernando, joined up with us, one of the big tipping points to actually get the series made was the fact that he is also a costumer. So he said, oh, I have this Hobbit costume that I made for a Halloween once. And we're like, okay, good start. So we started there, and he made all of the costumes pretty much for first season. And we brought on Vanessa Drivenis, who's our costumer for second season. At the beginning of first season, she helped out a little bit then, and then she took over all of it for second season. And if you compare first season to second season, we had a lot more money, and our costumes are, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they're fantastic in second season. Yeah, I mean, the chainmail, that was amazing. All the leather work that's on Daniel's outfit, Martin's, like, he's got this amazing baldric, and all the woven leather, and yeah, it's just gorgeous stuff. So yes, costuming is always a really big stumbling point when you say you want to do a fantasy show, right? No, it's good stuff. We spend a lot of money on it, mostly just because we need it to hold up. Yeah. We can't really afford the set. Like, we would love to have a tavern, right? And we will hopefully eventually, but instead of having the tavern, we focus on the costumes, and we do really need them to be rugged, because, I mean, if you try to make everything out of fake leather, and you're doing it in the rain for a 12-hour shoot day, it's just going to fall apart. I mean, we had that problem with first season. We had just bits and pieces falling off all the time, duct tape and glue guns on set everywhere to try and make it all stay together. So second season, it was nice to be able to have a little bit more money spent on that, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, our costumer is incredibly talented, so. More questions? No more questions? The badger, it was kind of a gag in the first season in that the badger always appeared as a pile of dirt. So we would appeal to the pile of dirt when we were talking to the badger. And that was really funny to me. I don't know why it was really funny to me. I was really tickled by that. And a couple of our crew came up to me and said, "What's the deal with the pile of dirt?" And I'm like, "I like it. It's funny." They didn't get it at all, but kept it. And then in episode 12 of first season, the badger makes a very comedic appearance, flying at an enemy and doing a whole sort of Monty Python-esque rabbit at the throat sort of thing. But besides that, no, Snuffles has never made an actual appearance in the show. And it's actually becoming kind of a thing that Snuffles actually never really shows up, because the stories that get told about him are incredibly epic. So I'm never really sure whether, like, if we were to sort of build a creature, if it could ever live up to the stories that we tell about Snuffles. I mean, in season 2, we are doing a lot of stuff with puppets, which is awesome. Huge Dark Crystal Jim Henson fan. Yeah, so it's amazing. And the puppets really didn't show up sort of in the first half of season 2, but they have showed up sort of in the second half. We have kobold puppets. Kobolds are my favorite D&D monster. And so we made this incredibly talented guy named Bill Rainey out of Texas started making us kobold puppets and just sending them to us. We're like, okay. So Puppet Badger would be a possibility, but we haven't gone there yet. So, any other questions? No? Okay. I have 2 Standard Action Special Edition DVDs for season 1 to give away. So I probably should ask trivia questions. Maybe it was something you just saw. Okay, well, one of the other things that we do in Standard Action an awful lot is pop culture references. You probably heard some in there as they went by, possibly. Can anybody tell me one that they heard? Thank you, yes. Here you go. No problem. So that's all of season 1, plus cast and crew commentary. The crew commentary is very informative. The cast commentary is insane. It's like we all got drunk or something, even though we didn't. Yeah. Did anybody spot another one? And yes, Princess Bride, fantastic. I just watched that movie again the other day. At the moment, all we have is, and actually the special edition DVDs aren't even available online. They're just available from me. Yeah, the commentaries, we do have some commentaries. One commentary we gave away as part of our season 2 Indiegogo fundraiser, a cast and crew, and it was episodes 1 through 10 for season 1. And yes, if you give me your email address, I will make that available to you. Yeah, for sure, because why not, right? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So one of the big things that we do have coming up next is something, I've mentioned it several times now, is our Kickstarter for season 3. And we are very, very excited to be launching it very soon, actually, hopefully within the next week or week and a half. And if you guys do want to hear more about that and about anything else that we are doing, so any of the webcomic, any of the modules, any of the DVD releases, anything like that that starts to come out, do come up here at the end of the panel and put your email on a list, and I will make sure that you get all of that information. Mostly because, you guys are the way we get the word out. We don't have a marketing team. We can't afford one. So word of mouth is the best way to do this. And even if you're not the kind of person who donates to a Kickstarter, that's cool. Just, show our stuff to your friends, and that would be fantastic if you could do that. Do I have any? Oh, another question. What levels? Well, the one between season 1 and season 2 will be a module that takes characters from, I think, level 2 to level 4. Because at the end of season 1, they are level 2. And at the beginning of season 2, they are level 4. Yeah, and then the second one, I don't know yet, actually. Haven't gotten that far, but probably it will be, probably it will start at level 5. Yeah. So all still pretty low level. But we don't have the budget to afford to do a show where they're level 12. So casting limited wish and stuff now. Any other questions? Absolutely, and we have a lot of kid fans. And it was one of the markets that we wanted to aim for. I'm not the kind, listening to us on set, we're incredibly potty-mouthed, but we try to keep it clean for what actually ends up on tape. And to be honest, somebody tweeted at me the other day because we released an episode in which there was a bleeped out word. Fernando says something when he takes off the mask of the villain and he just swears at him, and we bleeped it. And he, no, the guy tweeted at me and he said, "Why do you do that? Because you don't have like network regulations to pay attention to, or anything. Nobody's going to yell at you." But yes, because we want to be a family show, and because bleeping is hilarious. Yeah. It's a cheap laugh. That's so funny because you have no idea what he said. It's just like bleep. Exactly. It's so funny. So I laugh at it, so we still bleep stuff out. And actually, it was kind of a gag that at the end of first season, there's a sort of a Fernando who's this really, really sweet character who's like just the heart of the party, and he's just so kind all the time to everyone. Has this tendency every once in a while to come out with these like Tourette-style swearing. So we'll just bleep them out, and they're really funny. So, but yes, we do try to keep it clean. And also because, it makes us different. Yeah, exactly. People say that that's also a very Canadian thing to be doing. We try to keep the humor out of the potty most of the time. Though we do make the odd poop joke because they're funny. But, yeah. Any more questions? Advertising for Acer? No? Okay, I don't know what my time is, but I can think of other funny stories to tell you if I have time. Oh, 5:25. Okay, I only have 5 minutes left. So yeah, come on up here. Everybody who came, you can have a button. And actually, you know what? I have some dice here too. So the first people up here are gonna get a die. Oh yeah. Okay. All right.